you were on the verge of missing the Under-16 World Cup, yeah, because you had a major injury.
I was really, really eager, and at that time, the international passport was not very popular. So my first goal, going to camp, would be let them do my passport for me. I said that way that I missed the World Cup. It was Nigeria that missed the service I was preparing to give to Nigeria because I was in top form at that time.
Yeah.
If I had gone to the World Cup, they would have seen a lot of things that Nigerians never saw.
If you were to compare yourself with a player today, who would that be?
Without all the drama that he does on the pitch, which he doesn't really need, is Victor Osimhen.
Paraphrasing, a reaction is not rehearsed. So whatever it is that Osimhen did or does is totally out of passion for the game. Do you agree?
Everybody is always watching a top player.
Yeah.
Today, in today's game, your talent is not enough, Charles. Your behavior outside the pitch plays an important role.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we stopped developing players in an age where every country is investing how to develop players.
Welcome to the Playzone podcast.
Welcome once again to another edition of the Playzone podcast. Today, as always, we have a special guest in the house. And this man here played the game of football, yeah? Played all of his career in Germany, represented Nigeria at the under-17, at the under-20, and of course, the Super Eagles as well. My co-anchor is here with me as well today, thankfully. How are you, Tunde? I'm thankful you're here.
So the good thing about a podcast is you're allowed to swear.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
You're allowed.
No, you're not allowed.
So, you sure?
You're not allowed.
We have to check.
Especially
with the
knowing that now is the Ramadan season.
Oh God.
Now is the Lent season. So please, you cannot.
Okay. The bleep. Do you mean by? But yeah, I mean, this. I've told you, stop this co-anchor thing. Your guy is here. Your main man is here. Your homeboy is here.
Okay.
Take your pick.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, thank you once again for tuning in. It's always been a pleasure to bring this to you because we have some really wonderful guests. The fact that it says it's special guests is interesting because we always have special guests. Yeah, some really great guests who brought you some really interesting conversation. And today is another installment in the line of special guests. And Charles has introduced him as best as he can. I thought he was one of my favorite strikers back in the day for Nigeria. I still do. I thought he didn't probably get the rub of the green as much as he should have. But it's one of those things. Remember how a lot of people remember Edwin van der Sar, right? But nobody remembers that there was one goalkeeper who was just as good as Edwin van der Sar. He would know his name, Ronald Waterroos. Goalkeeper for, I think, Feyenoord then. Brilliant goalkeeper. But he never got the rub of the green because there was a Van der Sar in his way. And probably our guest also probably never got the rub of the green because there was Rashidi Yekini in his way. Hey, it is what it is. But without further ado, I think it's really proper that we should introduce our guest, former Nigerian international footballer. Probably German football legend. He's played at almost every level of German football. A Bundesliga, bona fide Bundesliga legend, the one and only Jonathan Akpoborie.
Good morning. It's fantastic to be here.
Thank you.
I need to correct Charles a little bit because,
please,
when he said at all levels, he forgot I was part of the winning Olympic team too.
True.
Oh, yeah.
As an alternate player. Did you get a medal for that?
I wasn't entitled to a medal.
And that's why we forget.
He was an alternate player. You, Abiodun Barua, and who else?
Yes, and
someone else. I can't remember.
Patrick
Pascal. Wow.
How did that feel?
Well, the hard work. Part of the hard work. I was there. You were there with the team all the way
during training sessions. You also bad.
And I tell you what, I was not surprised that the team actually won the Olympics because apart from joking around and so many things that happened before the competition. We were really training very, very hard. That was the only Nigerian group I was part of that training was not a joke. Everybody would do several things after training because you're allowed to do it. We had a coach who allowed everybody to do it. But he kept reminding everybody that, guys, tomorrow is training. And at training, my God, I used to come back to the hotel with so many bruises from Taribo West because it was my permanent
He kicked lumps out of you.
my permanent opponent, you know.
Yeah.
And there was a day, you know, I was picked to play with the A team and Taribo complained bitterly to Bonfrey that no, it cannot happen that I have to play on the opposing side
Because he enjoyed kicking you.
Not necessarily so, but you know, Taribo plays the way he plays in a game in training. You know, he's motivated when it comes to football. So that's the way he is. And I'll tell you guys what, he actually helped me a lot because when I went back to the Bundesliga, everybody seemed like very easy to play against.
So when you didn't pick up a medal, did you feel aggrieved, unhappy?
No. Everybody won. We won. Nigeria won. That was the objective of it. You know, we went through a lot of stuff. You know, before the Olympics. If I start saying all of those things now, some people.
No. I mean, you feel free because I mean, Sunday Olise chronicled everything that happened at the Olympics. Wrote a book about it.
Maybe he forgot this. I'll tell you guys this. Okay, there was a morning. We woke up. We're trying to go to training. We had these mini buses that we rented.
Yeah. Sunday was reported that was driving one of those buses to training.
Sunday was driving one. Yes, I used to go with Victor Akpoborie. So that morning we got to the parking lot of the hotel and we started looking for our minibus. We couldn't find it. So we were looking for it, walking around. We saw Sunday Olise. And he said he couldn't find his bus too. You know, so we had to go to the reception to say, look, our buses are missing. So as we were walking towards the reception, the lady was just smiling. And we were like, was she, isn't this only laugh? Was she laughing about?
Serious matter, they grab.
You know, yes.
They laugh.
By the time we got there and we wanted to complain, she said, well, the owners of the buses took them because we did not pay.
Whoa.
That we should return the keys to the buses, you know, the national team. We're training for the Olympics. So things like that, you know, but we were motivated, you know.
He also spoke about you guys having to wash your jerseys because you didn't have enough kids.
Did we, even in our first friendly game, did we have the jersey to play? I don't think so. It was the embassy that actually provided that.
What game was that?
I think the Saudi Arabia, the friendly game we played. We were scrambling for the Nigerian shirts.
So somebody
The
actually
Nigerian
said there was a
national
rumor that
team.
you guys wore a white T-shirt. That's something that they bought in the
No, it
Olympics.
wasn't. It wasn't the white T-shirt. It was the Nigerian shirt. But you know, but I think it was the embassy that actually made it possible for us to get those shirts.
Wow.
Okay, Joe, see, the major reason for, the Playzone podcast, one of the major reasons is to tell stories about heroes like you. Because the younger generation just have no idea of what our history is like, They don't remember people like you who helped put Nigeria's name on the map. If we go back to 1985, I think it was a Kodak Under 16.
Yeah,
Kodak Under 16,
yes.
back then.
Kodak.
You guys won it for the first time for the country. How did that emerge? Your coach at the time?
The team, how they put the team together, coach at the time, Sebastian Broderick.
I actually get crashed, They were already qualified before I joined the team. I remember I was playing, what they call Felele at Igbobi College. I was playing Felele and this reporter was there. The late Joaudu was there. He was watching. And he's like, this guy is really good. So he spoke to me and he said he wanted to give me a letter to train with the under-17. I was like, I don't know if I will be able to do that. And he said, no, just try. They train at Union Bank. And Union Bank ground is at Surulere.
Yeah.
And is on my way, going home. So I'm like, well, okay, I'll try. He said, no, you have to go, Then he mentioned Christian Chukwu will be there. I said, oh, definitely, I will go, So the next day I went there. I didn't have shoes. I didn't have football shoes because, you used to, yeah.
Actually, there was a rumor about you that there was a song about you back then in Akpoborie College. Can I sing that song? Akpoborie, oba felele, Akpoborie,
That's the
oba
myth.
felele, Akpoborie.
That's the myth.
No such thing.
That's the myth
No,
because at
you are that good.
Igbobi, people knew I could play football, and nobody called me Akpoborie, nobody called me Jonathan. My nickname was Odie.
Odie?
Yes.
Why?
Because my first.
Because the name Odie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
okay.
the only thing we remember about an Odie.
I started.
Oh, yeah.
I started football as a central back.
Really
Lobato.
now?
And the first game I played at Igbobi College,
You scored
You
an
scored
own
an
goal.
I scored an own goal. So that's how the name stuck with me.
To be honest, I
And
actually made that up,
when they call you, I'm telling the kids today, when they call you nicknames and you don't like them, don't struggle with them. The name will go away. But when you struggle, it sticks.
stick.
So I went to the training ground. I was amazed looking at Christian Chukwu. I used to watch him on TV. Wow, And I went to Sabara, gave him the letter. He read it. And he looked at me and he said, "Are you ready?" I said, "Well, I'm ready to play, but I don't have shoes." So they brought shoes for me and I trained. And he said,
Was that the first time you're wearing football shoes?
not necessarily, Then after training, he asked me if I would be able to come the next day. I said, well, yes, why not? Yes, I would be able to come. The next day I was there. I was waiting for them before they came. The bus drove in and, I played. And he said they would want me to come to camp. That which club are they supposed to write the letter to? I looked at him and I'm like, club?
But you didn't play as a centre back
No, striker.
because you said you started as a centre back. So
That was some years back at Igbobi College.
So by then you had already advanced.
I was really, really smallish, And when he said he wanted to write the letter, I said, hey, you only write to my father, not what club. I don't have a club that you have to write to my dad. So the next day, when I got there, he gave me a letter to my dad. And, in the family then, it was a problem, me playing football. I have to be in school.
Yep.
yeah.
Education.
So I waited till on a Saturday that my dad would be alone at home. So I saw he was alone. I went to him and I gave him the letter. My mom used to sell at Balogun Market. She was already in the market. And my dad was alone at home with me. So I picked the correct time. So immediately I gave it to him. Charles immediately said yes.
Wow.
Even before he said yes, I was already on my way to Games Village.
No, but
That's
explain
weird,
explain why he's because I was expecting that you would say
Some
he was going to
resistance,
flare up
yeah.
and curse and
my
everything.
dad, my dad was the opposite of my mom. My dad was very, very calm, and not necessarily nonchalant, but he would want you to do exactly what you would like to do.
Okay.
He's not that controlling person. So immediately I gave it to him. He knew I was very good at football. So he just said, yeah, if you want to do it. And I said, oh, yes. And he said, okay, no problem. And I think, I don't know, I can't really calculate how long it took me to pick up the things that I would need to leave. Because I didn't want somebody to come back home and say, no, you have to wait for your mom. I was already out the door.
Oh, wow.
Just told a couple of my friends. Nobody in Ajegunle then knew I was in camp. There was no social media. There was nothing. Actually, people in Ajegunle found out I was with the team when I was playing, I think, against Czech Republic in the quarterfinal.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's when they saw you on
Yes.
TV. That's my guy. That's my guy. What is he doing in the national team?
That's my classmates. But the real question was the fact that you great crashed the team, like you said, at the very last moment. How did your teammates receive you? Was there resentment or that you
it was
maybe
lukewarm.
chanced somebody or
It was lukewarm. They had a striker then, you know. I can't really remember his name now.
Igbinoba?
No, Igbinoba is a midfielder. I think his first name was Nosa something, and he was the one that carried them through the qualifiers. But Sabara would complain a little bit, you know, before I came, and they were obviously looking for a striker. Yes. So by the time I got there, I was in camp. There was one training we had. I was really, really making those runs left, right, but the ball was not coming. So Chuku stopped training and asked everybody, that guys, that's my team. He called my team and he said, guys, do you know why you guys are not playing well? They said no. He said, because you guys are just playing the ball behind. This man is making a lot of runs in front, but you're not giving him the ball. Give him the ball. Trust him. Give him the ball. You will see what will come. Because we're playing against...
Was that intentional?
Yeah.
They didn't want to give you the ball.
I believe so. Because you're a new player. You're just coming to camp.
you can see it. You've made the runs.
You know, you're just coming to
clearly in
camp.
space.
And I was playing against the best set of defensive players in the team. And I was really, really playing well. So after I spoke to them, they now said, okay, so every run I made, in fact, I got the ball too much. You know, because, you know, Chuku was an idol. You know, Chuku was talking to kids like us, everybody. You know, everybody was working with Christian Chuku for the first time. So everything he says, man, you have to do
Gospel truth.
You know, so at the end of the training, you know, he called my team together. We were playing against Sabara's team. I was playing against the first team. So it was after that game, Sabara now put me in the same room with one of the defenders.
Just for the benefit of those who don't know, Sabara is Sebastian
Broderick's, yes.
Okay.
And he put me in the same room with Binebi Numa. Binebi Numa was one of the defenders I played against. His buddy, one of his best friends, was dropped because of me. And you know, Games Village, we used to have 2 single beds.
Yeah.
You know, in the room with Binebi Numa, the first few weeks, when we get into the room, we used to face the wall as we were lying down because
this one go face this place.
we don't speak to each other. But Sabara was very, very clever.
He knew what he was doing by placing you in that room.
Because he wanted us to be friends.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we became. We became best of friends till today.
Interesting. But back then, just quickly, you guys played classic 4-4-2. Yeah? That's the typical 4-4-2 diamond.
Sorry. Not 4-4-2. We had somebody who would support the striker.
Yeah.
But he's not really a striker. He's in the midfield. He's a number 10. Then we have 2 wingers.
Exactly. So it was pretty much like a 4-4-2. Yeah, okay.
No, 2 wingers in front.
Of course.
You're
2
3
wingers.
in the attack.
3 in the attack.
Yes. Right wing, left wing,
Centre
and
forward.
the striker. You know, because we had, on the left, we had Belamomo. And on the right, we have Shegun Fakpetu.
Interesting.
Then me, I am usually in the middle. If I am absent, Bella will be in the middle. Shegun will go to the left. Then you will have Yaya Mohammed on the right.
So there were 3 strikers.
Yes, or Salisu Nakande.
Then 3 midfielders. Then so it was a 4-4-3.
4-4-3.
4-3-3. I think.
4-3-3, yes.
Okay.
All right. So you didn't. I hear this story all of the time, and I want you to confirm. You were on the verge of missing the Under-16 World Cup, yeah, because you had a major injury.
Yes.
But the coach still took you with the team for whatever reason. He believed that you were going to get well. I don't explain that story, because when a player is injured
He's injured now.
and cannot play, you don't go to a major tournament, but he took you.
player.
Why?
Charles, I tell you guys what, at that time, traveling was like the biggest thing you would want to do. Every Nigerian player wants to travel, and
Still is, actually.
it was unfortunately. I was really, really eager. And at that time, the international passport was not very popular. So my first goal going to camp would be, let them do my passport for me.
Okay.
That was my first goal. And unfortunately for me, the last friendly game we played against the Federal Housing Authority, my best friend then was playing for Federal Housing Authority, and he was the one that actually got me injured. I already beat the goalkeeper just to tap the ball into the net. He slid, and I strained my knee, my right knee. That evening, I had no chance. I think this was about 3 weeks before we were due to travel. And in fact, that evening when we sat down at dinner, I was telling everybody, guys, I know, we've gone through, because we've gone through the Nigerian tour. I've gotten used to everybody, that, guys, I know you guys will do well in China. I am very happy they've done my passport for me. I wish you guys good luck, and so on and so forth. In that discussion, because we were contemplating players that would travel, in that discussion, Sabara was walking through, and it was eavesdropping as he was walking through. And he heard, and he came. Because Sabara was like a father to everybody, And he walked there and he said, you guys, when they joke, Abi, when they talk, who will travel?
When they select him.
When they select him, Abi. Say, well, he looked at everybody around there and he said, everybody that is here, I can only pick one person that is traveling. Everybody's eyes lit up and it's like, Jonathan.
An injured Jonathan.
Charles, everybody's like,
Shock.
What?
He's only get one leg.
The next thing, Unduka say, look, after Sabara had left, he said, that soap we take bath, you go give us two.
That's Unduka.
Make we use that soap, take bath, because nobody was sure.
At that point where Nduka was speaking to you, was he already confirmed as captain?
He was captain.
Okay.
He was captain. But nobody was sure. Because there were some people that already traveled with Sabara before, with the team from Bendel then, the Bendel state. They used to go to Europe to play, this age tournaments. And they've traveled with Sabara before. And they kept saying, Sabara will always drop an important player before a tournament.
Why?
That's his philosophy.
An important player.
Yes.
That's weird.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
And he did drop somebody. There was a defender that was, arguably by far, he was our best defender. And he was left at home.
That's weird.
Can you explain that?
Only him can explain that, unfortunately.
No, I'm thinking, is it because of overconfidence? And a player who's overconfident, is a player who's overconfident in a squad automatically bring about this unity in the team? Does that happen?
Not necessarily. You know, somebody that is confident actually oozes confidence and brings it into the team.
So why drop him?
But yeah, like I said, he has been doing it. He has been successful with it.
Juju be that too.
Juju.
Juju be that
also
too.
be some kind of reverse psychology that, look, if I can drop the best player in this team,
Doesn't that reduce your chance?
Not necessarily the best, one of the best.
one of the best players.
But that guy, most times, when he will tell you that, look, two people, if not two people, they travel like the inside.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
You
saying.
know, so, coming back to traveling, Sabara already had that plan to carry me because he had already spoken to the doctor, and the doctor told him that I would play from the quarterfinals when we qualify. Sabara was willing to take that risk. In fact, he had an argument with Christian Chukwu and Bala Shamaki.
Isn't that in itself a coach who was overconfident? Because how was he sure that you were going to get that far?
No, I disagree. Well, because look, coaching is all about it's about rolling the dice.
You read everybody.
You just roll the dice and believe that, look, these are contingency plans, plan A, plan B, plan C. If I do get that far, these are my chances. And you basically, it's like a workman. You have a box of tools. You never really know which one you might need and when you might need it. And they all paid off because of
Charles,
that goal.
I will give you an example. We saw, after our tournament, we saw Brazil at Mexico, courtesy of Nigeria. And our favorite player that we used to watch in Brazilian soccer was Zico. Zico was injured before the World Cup.
Zico was the major reason why I love football. He's the one reason.
Fantastic
and when
player.
I got my first ever jersey, the number at the back was 10.
10.
Fantastic player. Underrated in some way.
Beautiful player.
Fantastic player. So all of us, we wanted to see Zico. But Zico was injured before the World Cup. So we were monitoring everything that, look, he's going to be there because we knew we were going to the World Cup. And Tele Santana took him. The same thing Sabara did with me. I can't really confirm, but I felt that some of the attacking players were jealous that Sabara was taking me because I was injured.
Of course.
But I tell you what, after the first goal against Germany in the final, Sabara, after we jubilated together, went to Chukwu and he said, I told you so.
Was it the first goal you scored or the second
It
one?
was the first one.
I remember that goal.
They said,
That you ate like two defenders. Was left.
no, that's Victor.
It was Victor's
Big
goal.
Milova.
Yeah. Brilliant goal.
By the way,
Ate two defenders, put it
by the
into
way,
the top corner.
we were actually telling him to just kick the ball somewhere else.
Oh, wow.
Yes, to just
no
ditch
score.
the ball. No, it was the last minute.
By time, yeah.
Yes, just hit the ball. Hit the ball
Just kick it
somewhere,
out.
Kick the ball out. All of us were shouting. And, in Sabara's language, he said, Christian, look at me. He carry the ball. He carry the ball. As he say, he carry the ball. The boy just hit the ball.
Brilliant.
God, my God, Charles. If you
Took two defenders out.
we
Hit it with the left into the top corner.
everywhere scattered.
Everywhere, like we said, that everywhere Bezoman.
I'm concerned with I don't know if you were privy to it, but I'm concerned about the possible discussion that Christian Chukwu and Sebastian Broderick's had over your selection into the team. Because you say he went over to Chukwu and said, I told you so. What do you have any idea what
You see, for me, Charles, I was traveling for the first time outside Nigeria. I was going to the World Cup. I play or I don't play. But what I did in that short time that I was training with the team, played the friendly games, went with the team, the Nigerian tour, you should have seen one of the goals I scored in Kaduna. In fact, that was the confirmation for everybody Even at that point, Christian Chukwu said, man, that was a fantastic goal.
You remember the goal?
It was, I think the ball came from Fatai Atere, from the midfield. I remember Atere just flicked the ball. I let the ball just
Come over your shoulder.
Come over my shoulder, bounced once. And all I could hear Atere say was, shoot, because the team would not even let us control the ball.
When you team, who
it was a selected side from Kaduna, because everybody wanted to join
the national team.
Yes, so they were really, really playing well. So Atere was just screaming, shoot. Atere knew I could shoot very well. And I hit the ball. Just after the center circle. As I hit, I looped it
40?
because as the ball was dropping, I hit it with the instep and the ball went very high and started coming down towards goal. And everybody just stood. Even the crowd, everybody kept quiet, were looking and saying, okay, where would this ball end up?
Did you know you were going to score?
I hit it to score.
Of course. Maybe
It
that
was
was one
a
of the
target.
hallmarks of
That
your
was
game
why
back
he
then.
was telling me to hit the ball, because he knew I could shoot.
You had tremendous accuracy.
I had the target. Charles, my playing career, although it was significantly enhanced in Germany, was my shooting. My shooting was
that was one of the
almost
things
perfect,
about you.
If I aim, I shoot, the goalkeeper is in trouble. And in the Bundesliga, the first game I played in the first division against Dortmund, I shot the ball once where everywhere was free. Immediately I shot that ball. Every team played that game. And every time I had the ball, there would be 2 or 3 people in front of me to prevent me from shooting.
Yeah, so unfortunately back then they didn't have stats, but I do remember watching a few Bundesliga games, and that was one of the highlights of your game, hallmarks of your game. You had uncanny accuracy. But let's come back to that under 18 team, under 16 team back then. It was a thing for Nigerian under 17, under 16 teams to travel around the country, play anybody and everybody that could fill the team. Fani Amu was here a few weeks ago, said they went to villages, they went everywhere, played anyone that was able to muster a team. Why do you think that has stopped now? Because back then it seemed like a fantastic way of building the team. They would pick players, drop players, pick players, drop players.
There are a whole lot of factors that are responsible for that right now. If we start discussing that, we might not use the whole of today to finish those things, because we stopped developing players. We've stopped. Unfortunately, we've stopped developing players in an age where every country is investing how to develop players.
I don't understand. We have academies everywhere, but you're saying we're not developing players.
They're not coordinated. Today, our league is horrendous because the quality of the play is so bad that you're not attracting the public. Nigerians like good football. So if you're not playing good football, do you expect Nigerians to come and watch? No. So these things are intertwined together. During my time, there were competitions that I would play.
Ramat Cup, Coca-Cola Cup.
Before Ramat Cup came,
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. Secondary school.
Principal.
We had that Principal's Cup was for the elite players in secondary school.
Okay.
Now, people like us, even those people that play the Principal's Cup too, there's a competition at campus every year. Different private teams will recruit players from secondary school to come and play. They used to send a bus to come and carry us from Igbobi College to go and play at campus, our team. I remember when our team from Ajegunle, we went to play at campus. And as we were playing, the area boys outside were telling us that, look, this is their team that we must lose. That if we don't lose, that we will see what will happen to us.
You don't see.
We won, and do you know what happened? From campus, we had to run because they were going to beat us. Really? We had to run to the bridge. You know the bridge yes, that was the only bridge, not the Akpoborie bridge, because the Akpoborie bridge was not there before. You know, we had to run to the bridge, the lagoon, looking behind us if the guys were still coming.
But let's talk about your journey into professional football. After the success of the under 17,
Under 16.
well, I like to, well, okay,
Yeah,
okay, under
was weird.
16, you know. How did you then move on? You know, how did you, when you got to Germany, how did you get that contract?
Even before then, now he played in Nigeria. He played for Julius Berger, actually. Yeah, he played for Berger. Yeah. So, but you were still a secondary school kid when you went to the World Cup and came back. So when did you make that transition into from high school to professional football?
You know, when we got back, there was one. Well, at that time, I don't want to insult anybody, because nobody knew how to handle us as players, as
Champions.
under 17 world champions. Nobody knew how to handle it. So
Because nobody believed that you were going to win.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there was no plan. So when we got back, they actually barred us from playing in the league.
Eh?
Yeah. They barred us from playing for any team. We were not even allowed to travel to Europe.
Wow.
Yeah. We were at that time, we were government property. So I got admission into Lagos State University. And I was there already. Then after coming back from the 86 World Cup, which we went to watch in Mexico.
You went to watch?
Yeah.
The government
Took
the
us to watch, yes, the
to
entire
watch
team.
the Mexico
Yes.
86 World Cup.
Yes.
You were there for the entire duration?
Yes, that's why I said, you know,
It's a
we
Zico
were
story,
following the Zico story. So when I came back, the under 20 was already in camp. So we assembled with them, and you know, I actually did not want to play under 20.
Why?
Because I had an offer to go to school in America.
Exactly.
I had one offer to go to Spain, but I chose school.
That was Brooklyn College, I think.
Brooklyn College. I chose school. Why school? Because of my mom. I had to do something to please my mom.
After pleasing your dad.
And yes.
Balance.
It was a gamble, though, you know, going to school. But I had my eye to go back to Europe from the onset. But nobody will be able to control my movement from America. That was why I went. And by then, social media was not everywhere. I was already in Germany for, I think it was the second year before my parents knew I was playing football in Germany.
Wait, hang on. Wait first. You went to school in America.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea and belief.
Yes.
But your parents at home didn't know when you left America to go to Germany.
I was already in school. I went to school.
Lasso.
Yes. No,
in America.
I left Lasso.
So wait.
You know,
so at
from
what point did you
Lasso-
play for Julius Berger?
It was after we came back from the under 20 World
From
Cup.
the 20 World Cup. That was 87.
Our under 20 World Cup was not very long because we didn't do well.
We lost
So
in the group
immediately we
stage.
got back. The papers were already, you know, in the making for me to go on scholarship to America.
Okay.
So I had to take the SAT test, passed it, then the visa came. By the time the visa came, I was already playing for
Berger.
Julius Berger.
Okay.
And it was Julius Berger's money, obviously, that carried me that made it possible for me to buy my ticket because I would not ask my mom or anybody.
So you got to America
Yes.
and then you went to Germany
Yes.
on your own,
Yes.
and your parents did
So you
not
dropped
know.
out of school?
No, I did not.
So you
I
finished?
went to school. It was after school, and I went to Germany.
Okay.
I went to Germany through, well, Samson Siasia was the first person that invited me to Europe. So I did trial in Belgium. And Samson's team actually told me to come back,
That's what, Lokeren?
Lokeren.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, no problem. I went back to America, came to Nigeria. I came to Nigeria, spent some time, went back to Nigeria and to America. Then a friend of Binibi Numas now invited us to Germany. That's how Germany came about. And it was the first trial I took in Germany. It was after 3 days. The guy just called me and said, look, and Yeboah was leaving the team anyway, FC Saarbrücken.
Oh, Saarbrücken.
Yes. After 3 days, the guy just said, no,
This is
we have to sign him.
the Ghanaian international.
Yes,
Tony Yeboah.
Anthony Yeboah.
Anthony Boom.
Very
Boom
funny
Yeboah.
guy, by the way.
Yeah.
Very nice guy.
I heard you also had an offer from Eintracht Braunschweig. Is it true? At that time?
Me? Yes, not just Braunschweig. You see, before the first few weeks we got into Germany, then they only had, I think, 3 black players playing in the Bundesliga at that time. And it would be very difficult for you to even get a trial.
One was Ghanaian, one was Togolese.
No,
Big Togolese striker.
Senegalese.
What about that big, what's his name? You know the one I'm talking about? Big
Salou. Salou came later.
Oh.
Salou came to join us later.
Oh.
Before me, Yeboah was there, Bafo,
Anthony Bafo.
and Suleiman Sane,
Suleiman Sane.
the father of
Leroy Sané.
Leroy Sané, yeah. So it was always going to be difficult to get the trial. But after the trial, with Saarbrücken, everything was perfect, actually. Although I didn't start well with Saarbrücken, it was I think it was that racial thing, you know. It was always going to be a problem because, you know, you're coming to Germany, you don't speak the German language, you speak English, and you have an interpreter every time. Although he did a fantastic job, you know, my friend, his name was Eugen, and things I remember in Saarbrücken. There's this funny story. What I tell you, what it is. Those are the things we lack in football in Nigeria till tomorrow.
Things like what?
In Nigeria, then playing for Julius Berger, Julius Berger was one of the richest clubs, football clubs we had then.
Their kits were original Adidas.
Exactly, that's where I am coming to.
Original Adidas, not
yes, everything was brought from Germany.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the new season, they would bring your shoes, they would give you one hard stud and one soft stud. Then they will give you, in fact, you don't get the training kits, you just get the boots. So getting to Germany, my first day of the official beginning of the season, you know, we got into the dressing room and they had these massive bags in front of everybody, just in the middle of the dressing room. I got to my seat where my name was pasted and I was trying to kick the bag away because it was too close to me. And obviously the interpreter was put by my side. And he said, Johnny, you're kicking the bag away. I said, yes, it's not my bag. He said, no, it's your bag. I said, no, it's not my bag. He said,
oh, guys,
Johnny,
your bag.
it's your bag. Open it. So before I opened it, I was turning it around and I saw my name and I was like, I looked at everybody. Everybody's name was on the bags. It's like everything there is yours, is your size, everything, because they took your sizes anyway. And I opened it. I had about 6 pairs of boots in there, about 4 running shoes, and all I could, in my brain, I was like, Omo with the craze for Nigeria.
Don't make me cry, man. Don't make me cry. Don't make me cry. let's forget about the running of football, at least for now. But I want you to share your experience getting to Germany, dealing with the fact that you're black.
Racism.
No, I don't want to mention the word racism.
It's the elephant in the room. Might as well say it.
But you have to mention it.
Yeah.
Well, okay. How did you deal with that?
And what was probably the most significant, the worst racist event that you remember clearly?
I can tell you that racism. When people talk about racism, right? You have to go through it to understand why they are being very angry.
Why? Who's being angry?
The person who's
abusing you.
The victim.
Yes.
Not the victim.
No, the victim. How the victim
why the
feels.
Okay.
That rage, why you are angry. You have to go through racism, Charles, before you actually appreciate and say, okay, you have to calm this person down. I was watching Madrid, and everybody keeps saying
Vinicius Junior that he incited
Charles,
the crowd.
Your
he caused
fellow
it.
human being, actually calling you a monkey.
But there's no proof for
I
that.
played a
really.
game. Charles, yes, I understand. But
yeah, look at me. There's no proof.
no, but I tell you what,
I
Charles.
do like this.
No, it doesn't.
Hold on a second.
Did you hear what he
Why
said?
am I
Exactly.
covering
No,
my mouth?
nobody heard what he said.
No.
Why am I covering my mouth?
Listen, Charles. Before that, he was actually speaking, and we could see his lips.
Lips moving.
Yeah, but you don't know what he's saying.
When he wanted to do that, he now covered his mouth.
There's still
I
no
tell you
proof
what.
that he called him monkey. But
So
but
is that
that's a different.
coincidence? Okay.
It's a different
Okay, I tell you
conversation.
what. I tell you what. I had this game in Berlin.
Oh God. Union.
We're playing against Hertha Berlin.
Yeah.
And when you drive by road to Berlin, then this was before the wall fell, you have to go into East Germany to come into West Germany. So this game was in West Berlin, and I was coming out to warm up inside the stadium. It was massive stadium, big, the Olympic Stadium in Berlin, yes.
Mm.
And it was crowded. Hertha has a lot of fans. So I was coming out. And this guy, bitte, Johnny, bitte, komm mal das unterschreiben für mich. That's like, please come and sign something for me. I looked at the guy and I said, okay. I walked towards him. The guy brought this marker pen. And do you know what he brought? He brought a banana. I was looking at him. I didn't know how.
The guy brought you a gift.
Come up with knacker for him.
He brought you a gift.
Charles, don't let people yab you. He brought a banana. Everybody in that area, everybody just
started laughing.
Froze.
Silent. Everybody was quiet. Like, what is this guy trying to do? I looked at him. At first, I was filled with rage. Then something said, "Be calm, Johnny. You're going to play a game." I took the banana, took the pen, signed it for him, and I gave it back to him.
Why
I
did
was
you sign
going-
it? You could have written something like, "Your mama."
What did you sign? Was it the banana? You
The
signed?
banana.
Okay.
He wanted me to sign
Start
the
to
banana.
sign
And you
banana.
did?
Okay.
I did. Sign him, give him.
You know that your mama in German, you didn't do that.
No, I signed him. My signature did there, making the look calm. Give him the banana. Waka, as I did waka, they go. I did tell myself, say, we no go lose this game. Because of that guy, say we no go lose this game.
Did you score?
Charles.
Is that the question?
Guess who I went to look for after the game?
The guy.
It was him. And everybody started laughing and said he got angry and he left.
Oh, so you didn't see him?
No, I didn't see him again.
So here's my very strong belief. Yeah, there's nothing anyone can do about racism. There isn't.
No, there's nothing.
There's nothing.
I think there is.
There's nothing. So
Summary execution for once.
as a man who has suffered racism, yeah, and very many others, most recently Vinicius
Of
Jr.,
course,
as you
yes.
spoke of. What's the best way to answer? What's the best reaction
Ignore
to a racist?
You just
Ignore.
ignore it. Yes, you ignore it.
Does that go back to what you said
I
at the
tell
start
you
of the
what.
show about if somebody gives you a bad nickname as a child,
Just
the best thing
leave
to
it.
ignore?
Yes, the best thing.
Because if you
is-
keep talking about it,
You
it
see,
sticks.
I grew up, like everybody know, I grew up in Ajegunle. When I started playing in Germany, there were some defenders that would mouth me. They would say all sorts of things to me, and they would say everything. After the game, as we are walking out, they will come and they will tell me, Johnny, please,
Don't take offense. Oh.
yes, it is inside the field. But me, as you yab me, Ajegunle I grew up, we are mounting Ajegunle. Very, very. The first day when I go play ball for Ajegunle, when I wear red, I never go that field, go play St. Mary's before. Then they look me, say, Omo, Pele don't come, red and red. Me self, I didn't even shame to even control ball. We are mouthy. Ajegunle is still mouthy. So if somebody is actually trying to get you to,
rally you up.
yes, the person is wasting his time. Somebody, look, Jürgen Kohler,
Yeah.
one of the best defenders that used to kick Van Basten all around. I played against him. My first Bundesliga game was against him.
Borussia Dortmund, yeah.
As he kick me, I tell him for broken. I say, oh God. I say,
You go kick that
if
out.
you kick me again, now 2 times I go kick you. VR no day that time.
Maybe.
When I wipe him 2 times, in respect himself, because I born in carry too, but that belief, I carried from Ajegunle.
But you were a small striker,
Yeah, you
Joe.
were-
How did you?
No, Charles.
You was
No, Charles. Then, that is what I owe Saarbrücken for. I used to train extra on Tuesdays. You should see me when I first go to Germany. Then 2 years later, you should see my muscles. That is what I wish for a lot of players.
Today.
Yes, that they should not go to Europe to develop. They should be developed here because your muscles start to develop when you are age 15. At age 15 in Europe, they now start giving you authorization to work with the gym coach maybe once in a week. Not a lot, but a little bit. Your muscles, they've started to form. So it is not overnight when you see one player playing, oh, he's a fantastic player, he's this star, he's this. It is the plan. I bet you, if we start doing that in Nigeria, forget it. We have to regulate our academies, not just...
Do you think it's because even these so-called academies don't have players who are originally what they're supposed to be? So at the end of the day, when a player who joins an academy is already 20-something, by the time he transfers to Europe, he's gone. I mean, he's gone.
It's part of it, Charles. It is part of it. It is a problem. We have to regulate it because, you see, when I go to Germany, there's a friend of mine. He was assistant to Finidi when Finidi was the national team coach, Benjamin James. Benjamin James has been at Hoffenheim for over 15 years now. Benji is responsible for from the under 15. He now does special training for any player that needs something. Some players might say, okay, I don't know how to head the ball very well. Benji will teach you. Somebody says, oh, my passes are not sharp enough. Benji will handle that, all of those things. So you see the kids, you see them playing organized football already from age 15. Not even age 15, you see them 12, you see them pressing, and you see them, dropping back. Everybody as a team together, you are taught all of those things from that age. The real age.
The real age. Very key.
So eventually when you learn, by the time you get to age 16, the special ones, the gifted ones, are already ready to play with the senior boys. I trained, when I came back from the under under 17. After we went to Mexico, came back. The under 20 traveled to
Chile.
Benin. They went to play a friendly game with one of the European teams that came. I think they played one game in Lagos, then they played another one in Benin. So Udemezue did not carry me because he was not even reckoning with me. Like I said, I did not really want to play because I wanted to travel. So I trained with the Super Eagles. Coach Salami was handling the Super Eagles then.
Salami.
Yes. Salami was telling me, he said, look, you have to train. All your mates are playing friendly game. You are not among them. I don't know why, but you have to train with the Super Eagles. I said, okay, no problem, coach. And I'll train with the Super Eagles. Then when you come to the National Stadium to train, you have about 10,000 people waiting to watch the Super Eagles train. So everybody was present. They were watching the training. And I played. Everybody was asking, why are you not with the under 20? And I told Coach Salami, I said, no, coach, no one carry me go. He said, no lie, I don't do something wrong. Because this the senior national team you just trained with, and you were playing with them as if you were a normal player.
Yeah.
And he said no, that when the coach comes, he's going to talk to the coach. I said, well, if you... But by then, my brain was, look, if Unano carry me go, I don't check out the go Yankee without the go school. So Udemezue came. Coach Salami spoke to Udemezue. Udemezue now called me. And he's always very dramatic. May he so rest in peace. Very, very nice person. Say, Jonathan. JB now you then say they do anyhow against Super Eagles players. Say, I don't organize friendly game. Tomorrow morning, you go show me all those things the way they do against Eagle Club. I say, okay, coach, no wala, no problem. In the morning, 7:30, we're already at the stadium, warming up. Say, those people them, we no travel, make all of them come show me what you wanna get. And I played in that game. After the game, Udemezue did not say anything. He did not call me. He did not say anything to anybody. He just sat in the bus. Unusually quiet that day. When we got to Gaines Village, I did bath. The man, they shout my name. Because we were the under 17 players. We were in a big hall. They didn't give us rooms because we just came from Mexico. Where is that Jonathan? Where is he? Where in there? With that in nose, we'll be like whistle. I say, hey, what I don't do again? Why this man, they call me? I can't walk out. I just walked to him and he said, come, where's your bag? Where's your bag? I carried him. I said, this is where I am. He said, pack everything. Pack everything from here. Pack everything. I was picking all of my stuff. Picked all of my stuff. And he put me in the captain's room opposite his own room. He now said, make I see where you go wrong way again. Child, that's how I went to the World Cup. The Under 20 World Cup. Every game, I would sit on the bench, but I would play. Because he told me, said, Johnny, don't worry. Say you are a very good player. I overlooked you. He told me that he overlooked.
Confess.
But he told, things like that. If I had gone, maybe I would have missed it. But I now had to wait, tell the school that, guys, I'm going to the World Cup. That it will be after the World Cup, before I will now be able to.
So what happened with the squad? Why didn't they do well?
Politics, Charles.
Politics?
Yes, politics. We had a fantastic team. Iponsa Omerige, Ahmed Ibrahim, Ladi Babalola.
Yes, yeah.
No, Siasia was not.
Siasia wasn't, but
it was not
seven.
in our.
It's seven,
Samson is.
Oh.
Samson was higher. We had Etimesin, and Etim was unfortunately part of the downfall of the team.
Really?
He played a fantastic role in developing that team, putting that team where we were or where we were going to, you know. But when it was time for him to deliver, he failed the team.
Maybe because of what happened?
You see,
Maybe he shouldn't have been the team at all.
exactly.
Because
That's where I'm coming
Yeah.
to. You see, when Etim was shot, it was a big blow
It's a national issue.
for everybody. But at that time, Etim already saw money. You know, Iwanyanwu gave him the 505 then. You know, as young as we were, I won't blame him at that particular point, you know. Maybe later I'll blame him, where you've seen life.
Fame went to his head, yeah.
But in the initial stages, when you give a kid money like that, of course he's going to blow. And he lost his way. You know, when Etim was shot, it was because of that car. If that car was not there, Etim would be in camp.
Mm.
You know, so driving around with let me tell you guys the story. Me and Carlos could drive. We took Samson's car,
Who's Carlos?
Binebinuwa,
Okay.
and we drove around Bode Thomas. We were still at the under 17 then. We're driving around, and we got to this police station at Bode Thomas. There was a checkpoint there, and the man told us, he looked at us, we were very young. He said, "Who get this car?" He said, "Now Samson Siasia car." He said, "No, before we carry this car." He said, "Yes." He said, "Park the car." Come park the car. We were not very far from Games Village. Waka for nights. If the car no dey, we for day camp. We don't carry car. Police don't arrest us. Mobile phone no dey. How we go take call Samson? Because if Samson come, now Samson then go recognize. Say, a national player. No do. The man come say, "Mo, they do frog jump." See, because we dey young, say we go carry somebody we no knows. We go carry in car. We go,
Hot frog jump in the middle of the
I
night.
they tell you. But this was, I think, around 8 o'clock, because it would be tied you to leave Games Village after 9 o'clock. We come the time the man, they look the man. Do frog jump, go this side. We do and come this side. So do and go where the man dey. We do and come this other side. Omo, when the man they stop another motor like this, now the line we take off.
You can't go.
We leave the car now. We carry key. Now Sammy car now. Sammy will come and carry his car. If you like, police carry and put for police station. If something comes and it just waka enter there,
Very big figure.
they will say, then seize my car. Who sees your car? The person said, "We seize the car, go dey trouble." So we don't leave the car. Now Sammy will carry the car.
I want to ask you this: how good was Etim Essen?
Etim was really special. You know, playing in the attack with him, he's always the go-to guy. You know, you can give him the ball at any time. He's going to keep the ball for you. He will not lose the ball. And if you make a run, Etim will see you, he will give you the ball. Sometimes he's selfish. But most times, he was the spearhead of our team, not as the striker, but as the control. You know, when you struggle to keep the ball in the opponent's half, just give Etim ball. Etim go hold am there for you. If then make them be 20, they fight them with that ball, and I go foul them before.
You know, I put out a post some weeks ago, maybe like a month and a half, and I said, if Etim's career had gotten to the heights, he would have been the best ever player to have worn the number 10 jersey.
I believe that. Because he was built for Europe. Let him know.
His physique was
see,
incredible,
if the
actually.
goal is here, the goal is here. If let him carry ball, now goal in the goal. They need to go left, they need to go right. Now go in, they go. Me, when I was still playing for Nigeria, I would still dribble, do all of those stuff. It was Europe that actually changed that view. That come, Johnny,
They go post
now. Why you they go that place? They go that place. They go that. Go there. Now there you they go. Now there. Eventually, and when I started doing it, I started scoring goals. So Etim was very, very important. So you can see that with Udem's way, he planned his team around Etim Basin. Even before we came back from Mexico, he had already planned that team around Etim. Then Etim got shot. The man now started thinking
there
of
was no
so
plan
many
B,
things.
obviously.
No, he had. So it was before we went to Nairobi for training. Because the team was meant to train in Nairobi, high altitude, because Chile was also high altitude. Nairobi was like our camp anyway, because every game we had, we would always travel to Nairobi. So we went to Nairobi. We were in Nairobi for about a month without Etim. Etim was here. So when it was time for Udemeze to pick the team, he picked the team without Etim. Because Etim was not training with the team. So Emma JJ was supposed to go with us to the World Cup. And Udemeze wanted us to leave for Chile from Nairobi. He never wanted us to come to Lagos. So they started shouting that no, the team
must be in the team. So
and
it was...
JJ, that's Austin Okocha's older brother.
Yes.
That's Emmanuel Okocha.
So eventually, when
JJ.
we got to Lagos, they now forced a team to be on the team.
Who forced?
Charles, they know themselves.
Well, let's talk about your national team career. You played for the Super Eagles. A lot of people actually remember you were actually in that 1992 team.
Nations Cup
team. You won the bronze medal. You were also at the 2000 team.
Well, I was registered. I didn't come, but I got injured while we were training in Malaga. And they've not given me my silver medal yet.
Oh, wow. But speaking of medals, you still have your medal from 85?
Yes.
Under 16, you have that one. You still have it? Till today?
Yes.
And you have the one from Senegal 92 till today?
Yes, I have that.
So it's only the silver medal from 2000.
I'm still looking for that one. They've not given me.
But there are those who...
You know what? Do you know what people pay for medals these days? I lost.
Okay, they were selling the Access Bank Lagos City Marathon medals for 50,000 in traffic.
Well, that Access own. My medal. I lost to Chelsea in the UEFA Cup final.
Yeah.
That medal. If I tell you how much, then they fight me, make them won't buy them for internet. I don't agree.
How much?
Me will not talk.
I don't know where it is, so I can't get it.
Make people not come meet me for house.
Because of time.
Because you did for house.
Yeah. Question. So you only played for Nigeria 13 times.
Was it up to 13? I think it was 12.
12. But there are those
13.
who believe that it could and
no,
should have
but
been more.
then we didn't have that the arrangement FIFA has now.
Which is?
The friendly games, our administrators then, it was difficult for us. It was actually difficult for African teams, except the French teams. Most of the French teams, they used to get friendly games around the world then, maybe French-speaking countries.
Let me ask you this. Do you think Yakini was way better than you were?
Than
you were?
Not necessarily, but Yakini had the Nigerian support. If you talk in terms of Europe, Portugal is not like Germany. If you score 20 goals in Portugal, maybe you score 8 in Germany. It's like the Premiership now. You score 20 in Germany. You come to the Premiership and you're scoring 8 goals. At that time, when we were playing the Bundesliga, the Italian league was at the top.
Yeah.
Then the Bundesliga. The French was not even there. The English were not even there because the English teams then, if we get them, we'll beat them. We beat them as we want. But everything changed. You know, so if I had gone to Portugal after I left Germany, I would have had a field day.
Okay, but what about being dropped from the France 98 squad? You played as many, I think 6 out of the qualifiers. But when Bora Milutinovic took over the team, for some reason he dropped you. Did that hurt?
I will not name names, but I strongly believe through a very, very reliable source that before Bora was given that contract to sign, they had already given him the list of the team that was going to the World Cup.
So you're saying that Bora didn't pick that team?
No. If he tells you, or he can't stand in front of me and tell me that, you know, he was the one that picked the team, because before we played Germany before the World Cup.
Lost 3-0.
And in the live program in Germany, national program, everybody was laughing at Bora because they asked him, they said, how about Jonathan? Is he going to make the team? And Bora said, he's going to look at him. He said, so the reporter was like, going to look at him? Johnny, the same Johnny in the Bundesliga? He said, yes. They started laughing. Because it was
clear they didn't know.
It was funny. It was funny. But for me, I don't look at it that way that, you know, I missed the World Cup. It was Nigeria that missed the service I was preparing to give to Nigeria because I was in top form at that time. You know, if I had gone to the World Cup, they would have seen a lot of things that Nigerians never saw. You know, they would have seen what I was doing in the Bundesliga then.
If you were to compare yourself with a player today, who would that be?
Without all the drama that he does on the pitch, which he doesn't really need, is Victor Osimhen. Because I would haunt the defenders.
I
would do everything.
I like that.
Okay.
Drama. Let's talk about drama. Let's talk about drama.
Okay.
Because Aisha sat where you are right now and said to me that, paraphrasing, a reaction is not rehearsed. So whatever it is that Osimhen did or does is totally out of passion for the game. Do you agree? Because I mean, what you're saying now is without all the drama.
Yes, without, you don't need all of that.
That's
drama.
not necessary, is it?
See, because I strongly believe, because okay, I've gone through Europe when I was playing. It's a long time, but you know, I still have a lot of people that work inside football. All my teammates, everybody is into football in Germany, Switzerland, you know, everywhere. Poland. I have everybody everywhere that I played with, and I strongly believe there are 2 reasons Osimhen is playing at Galatasaray right now. Or let me say maybe 3. Money, maybe the agent was greedy. Then 2, everything around Victor there was always a drama. Him abusing Finidi, everybody was looking at that.
When you say everybody,
wait, Charles, wait. Everybody is always watching a top player.
Yeah.
Today, in today's game, it is not your talent. Your talent is not enough, Charles. Your behavior outside the pitch plays an important role.
Thank you. When we were saying this thing on Twitter, that look, the incredible talent that this boy has.
It plays.
It is because of things like this. That's why he's not playing at the top of the game.
Because You see, we grew up for Nigeria here. If you go at Jegule, the picking where they grew up, if you pick something for ground, for streets, you could chop them. Nothing will happen to them. If picking for Europe, come pick that same thing. Before you reach hospital, you don't die. So when those little things that you do, they actually affect the team. So Europeans, if they won't buy you, they don't look you. As in, they watch you. Then say, see this guy, you don't fight in national team coach. Before you fight in national team coach, you don't get problem with him coach for Napoli. Have you thought about it that he was leaving Napoli? AC Milan did not come. Juventus did not come. Inter Milan did not come.
There's some that will say that there was something in his contract about when leaving Napoli and not playing for any team in Serie A.
Another Italian team. Yeah.
Leave that team. I saw Victor first at Wolfsburg. I take picture with him. I will show you the picture. I like Victor die. But when you play ball, nowadays you don't see Messi fight somebody for field except maybe the person really hit him. Even Ronaldo na Jama King, but na there as he do all of those things, he don't forget, don't they play him ball. But this one, somebody kick you. The defender go kick you now.
That's normal.
Yes, but you stand up, they go fight. I see Victor the other day when in the play against the team. Now did the whole arm that day referee forgive him red card. If they give him red card, you know how many games he go miss? Those are the things. When you see the Premiership team, they say, look, we might not sign an African player because he's going to miss maybe 4 or 5 games. Because he's going to the Africa Cup of Nations. You will say, 4 or 5 games. No, that they plan when they don't plan. So all those small things, them, it go walk inside the head of those Weibo people. I'm not being racist. I'm telling you the truth. We can actually handle.
You've been there now, so no one's going to argue with you.
We can actually handle more. When I did Germany, I go late. One day we go holiday. We come holiday for Nigeria. I can't go late. One day, they nearly kill me. My coach, they shout the day when I come. They shout. The interpreter, they interpret everything. When they coach, they tell me. They tell you. They tell me everything. I just sit down. I smile. After the coach talk finish, when he tell me everything finish, say then go give me query. I can't ask him, say, now only the query. He say yes. I can't tell him, say no problem. The guy look me. Now when we won't go out after training, he can say, Johnny, but how can you be normal like this when the coach has shouted so much?
Normal team.
Normal
team for us.
For us, you can handle it, but they cannot handle stuff like that.
Yeah.
So any little thing, they will look at it. That's why a European team, they want to buy somebody. If there's one small comma, they don't run, leave and say no. They don't want. Now, one of the things I look for this boy. We make him the Galatasaray.
They do a lot of background checks on a lot of our players.
I wish him, because he's doing fantastically well at Gala. I wish, say na pressure. If they don't want to buy somebody, na pressure go make them buy person.
But I hear now that he's being sought after by Bayern Munich. There's some sort of interest from Bayern Munich.
Yeah, because he has the
talent is on the
he has that this thing. The background of his development was Germany, Wolfsburg. So obviously he must have learned a little bit of German. He knows the culture from Wolfsburg, so it will be very easy for him to fit in.
I need to ask you this question. It's been sitting on my mind for quite a while, and you probably know which question it is. A few years ago, you were in the news for unsavory reasons. There was something about how you are involved in human trafficking, that was this slave trade, a ship you owned was involved in that. There was so much talk about that. Can you explain exactly what happened? Then also, how did that affect you?
It did not just affect me. It affected my family. My mom died from an illness that she got from that.
Your mom died?
Yeah.
As a fallout of that incident?
Yeah. Depression. I was my mom's favorite child. So everything that would happen to me would affect my mom, severely, which that one did. There's something in Africa that Africans do. Obviously in Europe. In Europe, they call it, or maybe in America, they say, what do they call it? Maybe somebody gives birth and you employ somebody who will be in-house, help you take care of the kid. Yeah, a nanny.
In local parlance, it's called Omugo.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then you bring that person. The person is going to school, but the person works in the house. In the evening, when the person comes to the house, the person is, doing the stuff, the little stuff, they run around at home and everything, but daytime, the person goes to school. At that time, the Benin president,
Matthew Kirikou,
did the same thing. That was how he grew up. That was how he went to school.
he was also...
Yes.
Okay.
Through this way, he went to school. Now, as owner of a vessel, the vessel will ply Libreville, Cotonou, and Lomé. From Lomé, it will carry cargo from Lomé, come to Cotonou, pack more cargo. Then eventually, if there are passengers, they will carry passengers. That was the routine of the vessel. So the crew has nothing to do with passengers you carry. It's like a taxi driver picking up a passenger and the passenger has drugs. That's one scenario. Now, before the vessel left, we got a clearance from the port that we can leave.
In Lomé?
No,
In Libreville?
in Benin.
In Benin, okay.
We got a clearance. You only get a clearance if they've checked everything and everything is okay with the vessel. The cargo, the passengers,
Customs,
everything. Yes, everything. They'll check before they now issue the clearance. That's one. Two, everybody that enters into the vessel, it is not our crew that checks. It is immigration.
Okay.
No be we. Three, we no sell tickets. We did not sell tickets. In
So
fact,
the passengers are on,
every
they
time,
are free? They are
No, more like stories.
no, no, still
now agents now sell tickets. You have agents that sell tickets.
So
It's like you buy a ticket from British Airways from an agent. So you have agents. They will tell you, okay, we have
you
20.
interface directly with the
No.
passengers. Okay.
No. Everybody come through agent. This is common practice till tomorrow, as I'm saying this now. So after all of this, even after the agent, they've brought these passengers, immigration has to clear all of them before they enter inside. It is at the front of the vessel. They will clear everybody, just as you are boarding a plane. Then clear you as passenger, you come inside. Then our crew now say, okay, now this amount of passengers will carry you. Where don't they go? Everything, all the list, the immigration will now give to the crew, which they did. So they left. So eventually when they left, the story started coming up that UNICEF said there was a vessel that carried 250 children. See, 200 from Cotonou, this same Cotonou. I say, I called my brother. My brother told me, he said, leave that story. It's a useless story. They don't know what they are talking about. At first, we strongly believe that it was another vessel. But eventually, as UNICEF now, they wanted something to justify
The noise they were making.
that thing I was explaining to you people now about somebody working for somebody. They call it slavery. So that was what was slavery for them.
Yeah.
We, on our part,
We know
It's
for
a normal
slavery,
African
it's
thing.
a normal African thing.
Yeah.
Apart from it being normal African thing, we did not even have anything to do with the passengers. What we had to do was pick passenger from point A to point B. Finish, nothing. They did not even pay us. It is the agent that will pay us money. We don't know who they carried. Because if they were wrong, immigration would fish them out and say, look, this is wrong. Oh. You can't carry this person. They will not even allow them into the vessel. Besides all of this, I've told you now, when the vessel got to Libreville, it was inspected by the Benin ambassador to Gabon, a representative of UNICEF, and the police. They went into the vessel. And the instruction was they have to carry everybody back to Benin. We now said, okay. I think at that point, somebody that was working in the vessel was a friend of mine. He called me and he said, look, Johnny, we did go back to Benin. So I said, Cotonou. I said, fine, it's better that way. We had a whole lot of money to earn from the cargo. But we wanted to go back in the same way. Don't add or remove anything. So they left. They did not even allow them to buy diesel from Libreville. So they had to go to Malabo. So when they got to Malabo, everybody was waiting for the vessel because of
What they heard.
the news, BBC, everything. They were waiting for the vessel. So when they got into Malabo, the police trooped in and was asking, where are the children? Where are the children? Say, which children? See people waiting inside vessel. So they looked at everybody. I said,
These are not children.
See, these are not the people UNICEF said. They said, yes, that is how it is. This is what we have. That was why they allowed to sell diesel to them, water and food. They now left Malabo straight
To Cotonou.
to Cotonou back.
So why? What was somebody trying to set you up? What is it?
Charles, you see, it was when the vessel got back to Cotonou. During all this time, it was just Jama that was going. They were fishing for a story to give to the world. They did not really have
Any
that
concrete
story.
proof.
There was no concrete story yet.
Well, why was
Hold on,
somebody
Charles.
looking to?
Just hold on. So when the vessel got to Cotonou, I was watching everything on CNN live. It was about 2 a.m. in the morning. I was watching it at home in Wolfsburg live. The reporters were running around the vessel and they were asking the woman, Madam, you said this vessel carried 250 children. Where are the children? Her first statement was, maybe we made a mistake with the name of the vessel. That was the first thing she said. The background, during that day, they were running all around the place to get the owner of the vessel. The vessel was a Nigerian registered vessel. They came to Nigeria, they paid money, and they got my name. And I was an international footballer. It makes a very, very sweet and palatable headline. Charles, that's the bottom line of that story.
So there was never any.
Nobody went to jail. For a crime like that, definitely I should not even be.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
did you sue UNICEF? I mean, for
They said they are immune. They are.
So was UNICEF wrongly informed? Was it?
No, Charles. They wanted that story out to tell people that, in that region, that slavery was still going on.
But they needed proof now. They couldn't find. There was no proof.
Exactly,
now, so,
nothing. But they pushed it, and media bought into it.
So after nearly ruining your reputation,
Not nearly, they did.
No. I mean,
No, till today. Listen,
true. You're right.
there are some people. There are some people that I talk to say, now that guy when they see him being in vessel carry children when they say are slaves. So yes, They won't tell people say slavery still they go on for Africa, but it's wrong. The whole of Africa should have fought against that.
Did you receive an apology from UNICEF?
No, till tomorrow. If they talk that one, then go pay me now. Not be only me, they go pay my family, pay the crew family, they will pay everybody.
But why didn't you sue them though? Okay, you said
No,
they're
they
immune.
are
Okay.
The United Nations are
Anyway,
immune.
because our time is fast spent, two things for me, yeah? One, your greatest regrets, if any at all, in football?
Charles, football was a dream, an adventure. I pray to God every time that please next life. Now football I won't play.
Okay, let me narrow it down. Is there any club that you wished you would have played for?
No, because Charles, when I had that opportunity to go to Stuttgart, I had an offer from Bayern Munich. I turned it down.
Really?
What?
Yes.
No.
Wait now. When I go fight me now.
Yes.
Chevina talk, I talk here.
Because wait, hold on. The belief is that Bayern Munich is the top of the tree in and in fact, Jürgen Klinsmann once said it that look, after playing for Bayern, just leave Germany because there is no other club.
Now for him, that now me different. I had an offer from Manchester United. I turned it down. I had an offer from West Ham. I turned it down.
Now Juju be this
Paris Saint-Germain. I turned it down.
Nah, Juju be this one.
Wait, Johnny.
Wait.
Please,
He said
tell-
Bayern Munich.
Wait now, you don't listen.
Just to be clear.
Why?
Bayern Munich,
Why?
You name
PSG,
it. See,
Man U, West Ham.
I had I think from my experience in America, not necessarily that my family depended on me. No, I had a lot of educated people in my family, but I had that responsibility that I have to take care of everybody, and in taking care of everybody, you have to be stable. I did not leave Germany secretly. Was because of my passport.
Aha. Okay.
That was one. If I had played for Manchester United, for example, I don't need passport now.
Yeah, but if you had played for Bayern, that wasn't that a faster means of?
Bayern was kind of like, I rejected Bayern because it was kind of like because of principle. They bought Giovanni Elba. I was going to replace Giovanni Elba. And I already gave my word that I was going to Stuttgart.
Okay.
So eventually, Bayern now came through my manager. In fact, not just Bayern, even Fenerbahce. JJ was there and Uche Okechukwu was there. And I was like, was really, really attractive for me to go to Turkey. It was a lot of money. It was worth a lot of money. But I also turned it down because I had already said yes to Stuttgart.
Okay, we have to go. I was going to ask you how and why footballers go broke after making so much money, especially knowing that on the African continent, by the time you convert your dollars, your whatever it is, it's a box load of money.
Well, you forget that even Europeans go broke. It depends
but
on
when you convert, Jonathan, now central bank now central bank.
Charles, even somebody look MC Hammer, for example. The list plenty. People day now the way when they live life. You see, the way I was at Stuttgart, I did not plan that it was going to be the whole time like that, because that was where I actually started earning
Good money.
Fantastic money. That when they even give me the contract, I didn't look the contract. They look my manager, say, "Come." He say, "Sign now." I look at him, say, "You sure?" He say, "Yes." I didn't plan for it, but I saw it. And when you owe money, sit down where Lou.
So
down where
why didn't you go?
Because if you know
Why
sit down,
didn't you
if
go,
you
bro?
know sit down where the money will carry you, you go waka.
Why didn't you go, bro?
You go.
He hasn't gone broke.
Yeah, like, why didn't you go, bro?
Because of the things that he does. And one of those things I wanted us to sign off with is right here on the table. What is this, Jonathan? This is Joe Pop. What's this?
This is a brand new drink. It's actually it's a cocktail drink. You can't see it anywhere in the world yet. First of its kind. The person that developed the bottle is a friend of mine. During COVID, I walked into his office and I saw the bottle. So I started talking to him about it. I have the franchise for the whole of Africa to sell the drink. We now developed this drink. It has whiskey inside. This is a lemon flavor. We have two flavors, cranberry and whiskey, lemon and whiskey. So right now, if you go to America, you won't get it. You go to Europe, you won't get it. It is Nigeria first that is launching this drink.
So this is life after football, and this is something that we try as much as possible to let
Promote.
Nigeria, especially Nigerian footballers, to know that all the monies that you make playing football has got to be put back in.
No, use and buy moto.
So that when you're done,
No, I buy moto. I chase women. My wife, I beg.
But you still have money. So what did
I
you
beg
do?
my wife, I
What
beg.
was your own
Charles
secret?
now, I've been chased, but I've been day young, my brother.
So what was your own secret? Why you didn't squander it all? That's all I want to know.
I think it's part of upbringing at home.
Your
you
mom
know,
again? Because she was the one in
Not
business.
just my mom, my family. I had a big family. I was second to the last of my siblings. I had people who would, they used to beat me up going out to play football. They used to straighten me up, wherever I go astray. So it was used when you grow up in that way, then you know how to handle yourself when you go out.
we gotta go, guys.
Before they
We
handle
gotta
you.
go.
But the moral of everything, as far as I'm concerned, where's that camera? Buy moto, chase women, but keep your money. That's
I've been buying motor now.
yeah. That's
The time, when I tell una to say, when I come house, before my mom approve, I carry V-boot come house now. When I park the V-boot for outside, my mom will say, man, who play ball, now first the jubilee. But he first asked me how I think get the motor.
Oh man. Okay, we have to go. Is this in stores? Can we get this?
It
in,
is,
in
yes,
stores?
Ebiano.
Yeah, Ebiano.
We are also
okay.
trying
Alright,
to get
cool.
into ShopRite also. But definitely
Alright.
Ebiano.
Thank you so much, Jonathan Akpoborie,
Thank
for
you,
talking
Jonathan.
to
Thank you.
us.
Thank you for having
If there's
me.
any footballer that I find delights in always chatting with, it's got to be you.
Thank you. Thank you,
And
Charles.
it's ideal that today's footballer, which is why I credit Ndidi, Wilfred Ndidi.
I like him.
You've got to go to school.
Yeah.
It's
Yes,
not just
I like
about
him.
the monies you have in your box, stored away. You've got to have an education
Lofijano
because
too?
Sheyi Olofijano,
Very
Shegun Odegbami,
Odegbami, yes.
Dr. Felix Owolabi.
What
There's
about,
so many
Chief
examples.
Justice
Amisi
Yes,
Emeka, so
Amisi
many
Emeka.
examples.
went
I'm
all the
hoping.
way to be Chief Attorney General of Rivers State. That's brilliant.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank
Wish
you.
you all the best.
Thank
Yeah?
you. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
so-
you. Thank you.
It's a wrap on the Playzone podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Welcome to the Playzone Podcast.